Our next candidate is Mr. William Miller. Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Hi. It's a giant chair and small table.
I know. I noticed that earlier this morning. It was a little large. So we'll get our clock in gear, and you can begin your remarks when you are ready.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I appreciate the chance to be with you here again today. I see several familiar faces. I know there's about 5 of you that are new, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a quick overview of my background, particularly for those who are new. I was born and raised in and near Joliet, Illinois. I went to school at Augustana College for college, came over to Drake Law School, and after Drake, I finished my, what I call my formal education, as it were, with a clerkship with Justice Katie. That was a great opportunity to take what I learned in the classroom and apply it in an environment at the court where there was those opportunities to really see those difficult issues presented. Fantastic opportunity, of course, to work with the judge and see ethical practice in play as well. After clerking, I moved into private practice. I started at a firm called the Bradshaw Firm. I ended up now at the Dorsey Law Firm, where I've been for pushing a couple decades. I'm a partner there. Of course, I started as a young associate, but I'm a partner, and I do complex civil litigation primarily, some employment law, some medical malpractice defense, and general things that come up here and there otherwise. That's my resume very broadly. You have it in front of you as well. I just wanted to talk about a few factors that I think are shown in my resume, the qualities that I would bring to bear on the Court of Appeals. First and foremost would be hard work. I think I've worked hard throughout my life, throughout my career, to get where I'm at today. My current practice is very challenging. We are expected to every year count for 2,100 hours. That's a combination of billable hours, time working in the community, and as any of the lawyers here could tell you, 2,100 hours is not 2,100 hours. It's not one-to-one. You're spending more time to get to that point. And so I'm regularly exceeding that. I'm working 60, 80-hour weeks, working very hard, and it's brought me a lot of success, which I'm very proud of. I'm also tenacious in my work. I really enjoy digging into issues, the facts, the law, researching, writing, figuring out what's happening with the case, sort of getting in front of me, picking it up, turning it around, and looking at what's happening. That's truly one of the more enjoyable parts of my practice and my experience. I think that would bear well for the Court of Appeals as we encounter very challenging different issues each time around. Last thing I wanted to note was my love and enjoyment for my colleagues, which is a little bit unusual to say because I'm effectively applying to leave them. But I look at my colleagues as not just those I work with, of course. I'm very active in bar association activities, other things to improve the law or work in the community. I really enjoy working with other people and those type of things. And so while, of course, I don't like the idea of not necessarily practicing with my partners for the rest of my career, I've very much enjoyed the experiences. They've really imprinted on me, and I think they've prepared me well for the court. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today, and happy to address any questions you might have. Thank you.
Our questioning starts with Commissioner Spies.
Good to see you again, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, Commissioner.
So I wanted to ask you about the tone of judicial opinions. And I know you've written lots of briefs. You're a litigator, so you engage in the contentious aspects of the legal process. Do you think that the tone, the contentiousness that's in the advocacy aspects of the judicial process is filtering over into the judicial aspects? And how would you address tone?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. I know where you're coming from. I see some of that, I think. I don't think it's bleeding over too much, particularly in state court. And what I'm seeing from, our judges in the district court particularly. I could think of a couple examples from the Supreme Court that maybe there's a little bit of a sharp language or
Go ahead and say it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, you can read the annoyance between the lines, perhaps that's a word. So, I mean, I think I try certainly to be appropriately sharp in my writing and my argument. We're zealous advocates, we're strong advocates, but always professional. I think that would be kind of the outlook I would have and the approach I would take to be mindful, too, that I'm not trying to show anyone up and there's no need to show anyone up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Roberts.
So I'd like to talk about the breadth of your practice. You mentioned that you primarily do complex civil litigation. In 2021, according to the Court of Appeals statistics, about 80% of the docket was criminal law or family law related. So that hasn't been sort of your wheelhouse. So what sort of challenges do you think you might face, and maybe what does your different experience will that bring to the court?
Yeah, I think I need to be humble and cognizant that I don't have a broad experience, and none of us do. I don't think that any of the applicants, we don't know it all. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have our specialties. I think what I've learned from my practice is the importance of approaching things with thoughtfulness, applying the analytical skills and the research skills to an issue, no matter what the area is. So I think I am primarily a civil practitioner, and so I think I'd be approaching that with an understanding I need to be mindful that I need to study choices hard and make sure I'm up to speed and prepared to attack those type of issues using the skills I've learned in practice to bring to bear on. Thank you.
Commissioner Parrish.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, I'm not asking you to comment on folks who work in public service, but I'm interested in your thoughts as to what you bring as a private practitioner directly to the Court of Appeals, as opposed to someone, say, who has been in the public sector for a number of years, or someone who served on the district court bench. Can you share your thoughts with us as to the perspective you bring? Because I'm sure you're aware of the status of the Court of Appeals now with regard to private practitioners. So could you share those thoughts with us, please?
Yeah, thank you. Happy to do so. So I'm in an extremely challenging, heavy, high-paced position. A lot of things happening in a lot of different ways, a lot of balls in the air, and many clients calling upon me to provide the advice to be in the mix. I think that's really requires a lot of energy. That would be something I bring to bear. I say that not saying others don't have energy as well, but I think it's just a different style and a different thing that when you're on the front lines and dealing with these issues day to day. And then, I think also the type of issues that we're dealing with, again, due respect to some, if you get away from that a little bit, if you're not regularly in practice, if you're not applying the rules constantly, if you're not dealing with the new e-discovery issue or whatever it might be, I think you lose or you atrophy a little bit in that skill. So I think bringing that in and hitting the ground running with that, it would be a great energy for the court.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hardcroft.
Thank you. Good to see you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Collegiality is obviously a very important trait for somebody who's going to serve on the Court of Appeals. Is that something that you possess, and can you talk about a time where you worked well with others and what the result of that was?
Yeah, I think I possess it in spades. I mean, I think something I've really strived to have throughout my career, always been both within the firm I might be practicing, clerking, in the Bar Association, always trying to be an integral collegial part of that. And so, kind of the working in the firm, those are sort of easy examples, but the Bar Association, we come up with difficult issues from time to time that we might need to decide what we're going to do on them. And working together, particularly there, we're going to bring a lot of diverse views to the table from different practices and different experiences, and always striving to be respectful where other people are at on those things and lead towards a good solution or outcome for the group as a whole.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. I want to talk to you about the Kashi case. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, yes, yeah, yep, that's right.
I love it that was included in your list of most significant cases. Could you please share what insight you gained from that?
Yeah, well, that was a pro bono case and a very unusual one that came to me, but it was a situation where our client had a service dog, and she had worked with Kashi and grown together, and our client had a number of disabilities. Kashi was there to help signal or deal with those, such as seizures, and had a situation where Kashi had come in to her through a program, and the program said, well, she's overweight, we need to take Kashi, we need to train her up, and some shenanigans happened from there. And so we pursued the return of Kashi, and that was a great thing, great outcome. And I say sometimes my cases, they go for years and years, and it's hard to see progress. This was a small claims matter, but we got in, got out, and got Kashi, and so to be able to sort of have that success was a great thing. So, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Graber?
Thank you again for your application. You talked about your work ethic. I can see that definitely in spades, and you've been able to benefit from your success and from that hard work. If you were appointed as a Court of Appeals judge, how would you measure that success?
Oh, I think just, I think complying with ensuring that I'm fitting in and keeping part of the function of the court, keeping things moving, not lagging in my work product, turning out opinions that are strong and easily digestible by the public, that are smart and thoughtful, that don't overdo it. I don't expect I would necessarily be getting awards, right? That's maybe a little bit what you're getting at. And so I think the award of, or reward of knowing a good job done, and I'm being a good colleague, and have meshed with the group, and things are going well. That would be how I go from there. Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Stanger?
Good afternoon, Bill.
Indeed.
We've worked together in a number of situations to advance the law and to advance the branch, and your selfless service and leadership is admirable. You really truly care about the merit of the branch, and I wanted to just visit with you about that. One of the other applicants today, I'm going to try and quote, indicated right to her 4th grade class that she's not special, and that the judicial branch is not meant for those that are connected or elite. It's meant for anyone bold enough to step forward. Thank you for being bold enough to continue to step forward. And how can you and this commission ensure that this branch does not become something for those that are connected or the elite?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think it's very important, of course, to continue to put forward judges who have strong experience and have the sort of the wherewithal to keep doing a great job, to sort of pull from the best of the best, sustain our courts in a way that we can all look up to and appreciate. And so outside of that also, should I be appointed, which, making sure the judges are ready for that job of also being a public face of the branch, and something I would enjoy and embrace, that we have the opportunity to be an outward sign, a human sign of what the branch does.
Thank you, Bill.
Commissioner Henderson?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Hoig?
Hi, Mr. Miller. You've clearly stated that the workload's probably not going to be a challenge for you transitioning to that, but what do you foresee as being your greatest challenge?
I think I've called it a monk-like existence, moving into the spot where you're really not involved in the same way with colleagues at a firm or in your bar association activities. You could still be participating, but you're at a different mode. And so I really enjoy those type of things, and I think that will be different, and I'm ready to take on that transition and that challenge, but I think it'll be a little bit different for me to go from being the guy that call up somebody or bump into him in a meeting and instead be a little bit more off to the side.
Commissioner Bevel?
No questions.
Commissioner Hanson?
No questions?
Commissioner Gray?
Well, this may be my last opportunity to make this joke, Bill, but tell us about your pro bono experience with the bonobos.
Yeah, well, that's been a fantastic.
You were on the news today.
Was that right?
Yeah,
Well,
I was
I'm very
waiting for you
timely
to bring
then.
your question up.
What's that?
It was on
That's
the
right.
news today.
Yes, it was pro bonobo, so that's a joke. No, this is the Ape Initiative is what it's called, formerly Great Ape Trust. Somebody probably heard of that over the years, but they had a situation where the leader of that program, who brought them here from the Atlanta area, started getting out of the practice and brought in somebody new, and then there were disagreements about who was running the show and the like, and they needed some help to figure out how that was going to go and sort that out between some different factions. And so that even led into a evidentiary trial hearing with Judge Walters, and an outcome that our side won, basically. And I think the risk was that the program would fall apart or they'd leave Iowa, and so it was great to preserve that, and they're going strong today. Unfortunately, they're still in the news. They got robbed here not long ago, but it's a burglary. But I got some funny stories to tell you about later on that. But, not really funny, but there's always interesting stories. So anyway, that's been a great experience.
Thank you, Bill.
And thank you, Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Picklap?
I just want to hear more stories.
Okay. Commissioner Pearson?
No questions.
Commissioner Chase?
No questions.
Commissioner Hoytink?
No questions, thank you.
All right. Mr. Miller, we appreciate your application
Thank you,
and
Bill.
look forward to deliberating on it
Thank you.
later.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.